There are many issues when it comes to Confederate monuments, the main one being the battle of whether to remove them or to keep them up. Many people feel that it is a necessity to remove them due to the controversy with them supporting white supremacy and racism. This is because Confederates were believers in the racism that was happening during this era. But there is another side who believe these monuments represent a huge part of American history and that they should stay up. Removing a statue of a general who was killed at war can be a sign of disrespect, which is why there is a third opinionated group. These people feel that the monument should not stay nor be taken down, but moved into a museum. This is an issue that has gone to high extents such as protest and even graffiti. The monument I chose to discuss was the Confederate Men's Home located in downtown Austin, Texas. This monument was established in 1886 and founded by a man named John Bell Hood. Hood was inspired to make this home for disabled Confederate veterans. There were many groups who raised funds for this home, but the main one was the Albert Sidney Johnston chapter of the United Daughters of the Confederacy. The camp had bought 16 acres of land on West 6th Street in Austin, Texas from John and Mary Armstrong. It had opened shortly later in November of 1886. The very first Confederate veteran to live here was named Sam Everett. This man had lived here until he passed away. The home had many events in hope to raise money for the home, which is a great success. The home started with a small amount of Confederate veterans and increased to thousands of veterans over the years. Soon, the home consisted of less than 80 men, resulting in the closing of the home. Thomas Riddle was the last veteran to die in the home at the old age of 108. When the monument was closed and demolished by the state in 1965, it was turned into apartments for housing of married students at the University of Texas, now called the Gateway Apartments. I believe that the right thing to do in the case of statues and monuments is to take the statues into a museum, a place where they can be seen if they are chosen to, but not forced to be seen on public grounds. As for the buildings of monuments, such as the Confederate Men's Home, I think they could be turned into museums with detailed informational guides on why they were there and the meaning and impact it had on American history. I can understand that some people do not like to see these monuments on a daily drive or walk to work due to some of the horrible things some Confederate people have done. So the actions I think that should be taken are these. This way, the history of these places or statues are not completely demolished and taken away forever, but just moved, and if wanted to be seen, they can be. This cannot fully solve the problems of Confederate monuments because we will still have the issues with the names of schools and roads. These are difficult because people will have different opinions on whether the name should stay or not, and they cannot just move a name. It was learned that people have many different opinions on the Confederate monuments and whether they should stay or be taken down. It is also a popular opinion that the monuments should be put in a museum where people can see them if they would like to, but not be forced to see them on public ground. This is a great solution, but it does not help with the debate of changing names of roads, schools, and taking down buildings like the one I discussed in this video. Karen L. Cox, who feels the monument should be taken down, said, "Confederate monuments have always been a symbol of white supremacy. She feels they are racist and do not symbolize anything good." Another opinionated writer, Sophia A. Nelson, an African-American woman who feels they should stay, quoted, "A great country does not hide its history. Remembering is powerful. Remembering forces us to become wiser." She feels like the statues should stay because it will make it seem like we are trying to remove our history if we take them down, which should not happen. We also learned that the reason that people feel the monuments are offensive is due to the fact Confederates have had a racist and white supremacist reputation. This is somewhat true, but these people still have families who might not have respected their actions, but they are still family by blood. The main possible solution I have discussed in this video is to move statues into museums, but the solution to changing the name of schools, streets, and taking down Confederate buildings is a little more complex due to the fact you cannot really move a school or a street name into a museum. But there could be a citywide vote on changing the name that will determine the change. But for school names, I feel that it should be changed because children at a young age are sensitive to these subjects and should not have to wonder about them. Confederate monuments are a huge part of America's past, which is why they should be put into a museum to keep them in our history.